A very dramatic morning, Monday 24th September 2018, as Migori Governor Okoth Obado answered to charges of murder. Impeccably dressed in a blue suit, the Migori Governor calmly responded not true when the judge seated at Milimani courts asked him whether the charges were true. Yeah, of course, after reading out the charges to him. Obado's lawyers triumphed in the first battle of the court, the first battle of this particular trial, when they frustrated the efforts of the prosecution to slow down the bail hearing, to keep on postponing as far as possible the hearing for his bail. Of course, the whole idea is that he remains in custody for as long as they possibly can manage. The prosecution said they would not be ready before Wednesday. However, Obado's lawyers protested. And so the bail hearing was set for tomorrow, Tuesday, 25th September 2018, at 2 p.m. However, Obado's defense lawyers lost the second battle. And that was they wanted Bwana Obado to be returned to Gigiri police station. That is where the Migori governor has been in custody since Friday. And that is where he has been provided with a mattress and a blanket, unlike other inmates. Because for those who don't know, in police cells in Kenya, people sleep on the floor. He has also had access to his wife and close family who have visited him at the Gigiri police station. And the lawyers put up a spirited fight that he remains there. However, the prosecution added that Bwana Obado had already been charged and he had taken a plea. And the procedure was that when somebody takes a plea, they are moved to remand prison, from police cells to remand prison. And the High Court judge agreed with the prosecution. And therefore, Okoth Obado, the Migori governor, has been remanded in Industrial Area Prison. And he will remain there until the bail hearing tomorrow at 2 p.m. If he is not granted bail, that is the place he'll remain for the entire period of the trial. Now, early in the day, before the judge came into court, very early in the morning, something else worth pointing out happened. And that is a very familiar face turned up in court, all the way from Migori. Of course, this is the mother of the late Sharon Otieno. Sharon's mother traveled overnight all the way from Migori to be in court as Governor Okoth Obado makes his very first appearance in court. Now, this is super interesting, because the family of the late Sharon have been very stubborn, and they have said they are not going to bury their daughter until the main perpetrators of the crime against their daughter is brought into court. And there have been several arrests, which has not interested Sharon's mother at all, or the family. But this one of the governor, seems to have really attracted the attention of the mother. So the assumption here is that this is the big person they are referring to. The person they said that they will not bury their daughter until the main person responsible is brought to justice. Now, you have to respect a mother's instincts, because a mother will look at her daughter, and even in the absence of any other symptoms, like vomiting or the face changing, will tell the daughter straight in her face, "You're pregnant." Or even tell the father, "Our daughter is pregnant." And the father will look at the daughter and say, "No, I don't see any signs that she's pregnant." "What do you mean? How do you know she's pregnant?" And she will usually be right. The mother is always right. Those same instincts were in play when Sharon was alive. Because when she was going for the meeting, initially she was supposed to go for the meeting alone. But the mother told her, "No, don't go alone. Get the journalist to accompany you." This, of course, was the meeting, which was not a meeting. It was actually a trap, to be able to abduct her and then later murder her. The mother also started crying very early. Immediately she couldn't raise her daughter on the phone. And long before the body was actually found, she was already in mourning. And it is the same mother who told the press very early, before anything had started, that the pregnancy of Sharon belonged to Migori Governor Okoth Obado. And TV stations edited that part out of their clips, what they showed on TV. And even newspaper reporters did not include that in their reports, which appeared in the media very early during this drama. And she has also spoken very clearly, and said who is responsible for her daughter's murder. Well, as I make this recording, DNA tests have come back and confirmed exactly what Sharon's mother was saying when she identified who was responsible for the pregnancy. Well, today she shed tears in court. And even when the proceedings were over, she had to be assisted to her feet. The instincts of a mother. Now there's yet another drama right outside the Milimani courts. Actually, at a restaurant opposite the courts, where yet another bodyguard of Obado was arrested. Now this bodyguard is a police officer, so he had to be disarmed. He had to surrender his weapon before his arrest. Now there are conflicting reports. The first report says he was arrested because his phone was traced by investigators to the scene of the murder of Sharon Otieno. Other reports say that the reason for his arrest was for forging academic papers in order to get a job, in order to get employed by the administration police. He actually used the academic papers of another public officer. That's what the police allege. They say he used the papers of a man called John Chacha, while his real name is Mwita Moses Mogaya. Now, as soon as I have more information, I'll be able to tell you which of the two versions, covering the reason for his arrest, is the correct one. Or if it is both, which is what I highly suspect, but I'll confirm that as soon as I have information. Now, let me just repeat what somebody told me, shortly before I started making this video. Because I believe it is a question, or rather a concern, that is on the minds of many Kenyans, who are observing what's going on here. And I quote, Chris, hii kizungu nyingi ni ya nini? Hii kizungu nyingi ni ya nini? Ati sijui aiding, sijui abetting in murder. Mbona wangechaji huyu jamaa tu na murder? Unajua hizi ndo mbinu watu tumia, wakubwa, wanasaidiana kuhepa jela. Na hii utaangalia mali kizungu nyingi iko. Na kuanga na wasiwasi sana. Well, I'll repeat exactly what I said to him in response to these comments. Actually, what is on the charge sheet is aiding, financing, and abetting the commission of murder, which may appear to be a lesser charge, but actually it's not. And a big telltale clue that it is not a lesser charge is the fact that Obado is the first accused. In simple English, he is the main person in this crime. That's the allegation. Now, what the law very clearly says is that a person who aids and abets in a crime is normally treated and punished exactly the same as a principal offender. Yes, you did not commit the actual murder. You did not plunge the knife into the poor woman. Yes, you didn't do that. However, as far as the law is concerned, if you aided and abetted, you're just the same as the person who did exactly that. You're just the same as the person who actually knifed the woman. There is absolutely no difference between you and them. And therefore, the punishment for the crime if found guilty is exactly the same. If they are hanged until they die, you'll be hanged until you die. As punishment for that offense. If they're imprisoned for life, you too will be imprisoned for life. Now, the person I've just quoted who made that comment in Kiswahili obviously didn't know this. And my hunch is that there are few of us out there, or many of us out there, who do not know. Well, now you know. Now we'll go for a brief commercial break. When we come back, we will discuss about some very fascinating new information that has come out of the investigation. Very fascinating stuff, which will most probably dominate this trial, which has just started. Don't go away. Now, on the morning, that Sharon was abducted and then later murdered, that morning, about 5 kilometers from Migori town, there was a very interesting meeting that took place. It took place in somebody's home, and those who attended the meeting were Michael Oyamo, who's already in police custody, Kaspal Ojwang Obiero, who is already in police custody, Police Constable Elvis Omondi, the bodyguard of Okoth Obado, who is also already in custody, and Abwana Dick Ogola. Now, Abwana Dick Ogola is a sergeant at arms in the Migori County Assembly. Now, obviously, this is a very suspicious meeting that took place, and that's the reason why it has attracted the interest of investigators. What were these people discussing? What were they planning? Could they have been planning the abduction and murder of Sharon Otieno? Now, only these 4 individuals were present at that meeting, and if they all decide to keep quiet, we will never know what they discussed at that meeting. However, it is also true to say that it is impossible not to link this meeting to the murder of Sharon. It's very, very difficult. Something else fascinating that has come up in the investigation. On August 27th, that was a week to the murder of Sharon Otieno, Bwana Michael Oyamo bought a new Airtel line. Now, when he purchased this new line, he did not register it to his own name. Yes, he registered it to another name. And the name officially in Airtel records is Bwana Vincent Obonyo. Bwana Oyamo started using this line and abandoned the Safaricom line. He diverted all calls coming through his Safaricom lines to voicemail. Now, why would you want to buy a new telephone line, and use somebody else's name and not your own name? Again, that is very, very suspicious. And again, this is one of the things that's going to come up in the trial, in the murder trial of Sharon Otieno. Indeed, in the trial which has begun this morning. Because what we're being told is that all the charges against all the other suspects will all be consolidated into one case, which makes sense. Instead of wasting resources and time having all the different suspects being tried in different courts under different judges, you put them all together in one courtroom, in one case. Now, there's a Swahili saying that says, shida ikikuja, kawaida zinaitana. Loosely translated, when trouble comes, normally it summons other troubles, so that they attack this person in numbers. So you start off with this single issue, this single problem, then very soon other problems come in, sometimes unrelated, sometimes related, and they all crowd in, and bombard you. Now, this is exactly what has happened to the governor of Migori, Bwana Okoth Obado, because we now hear, or rather we are now told, that his accounts have been frozen, both his accounts within the country and out of the country. This trouble for Obado started when investigators started looking at his finances. If you're involved in a murder, normally the world over, detectives will look at everything. And one of the first stops is your finances. Because in murder, it is always assumed that the murder was financed by somebody. So they look at your finances to try and get evidence that you actually financed this murder. Now, in the course of these investigations, it was discovered that huge amounts of money were transferred abroad, and also to other people related to the governor, including his own children and other relatives. And so the conclusion of investigators was that this was corruption money, and that is the suspicion they have used to get the court to freeze Bwana Obado's accounts. And so, as his murder trial starts, Bwana Obado has no money because he cannot access his funds. All his accounts have been frozen. Now, this is a question I'm sure many Kenyans have asked themselves, because I've also been asking myself. Because we have been hearing that Sharon was expecting to be bought a house worth 25 million, 30 million, or they settled for a house worth 10 million. Where was that money coming from? And even when Sharon Otieno, was given 100,000 for upkeep when things had already started going wrong. She complained it was not enough, which means she was used to larger amounts of money. So the immediate question is, what was the source of this money? Because the truth is, nobody is aware of an enterprise called Obado Industries, which generates a lot of money, and which people would comfortably say, this is where Bwana Okoth Obado's money comes from. And so, it is easy to assume, or to suspect, that this is taxpayers' money. The long and short of this development is that the Migori governor, even as he battles out these murder charges in court, will have yet another charge coming his way very soon. And that charge will be related to corruption. And maybe money laundering as well. Now, this is not good news for Bwana Obado. And indeed, any man would be very crestfallen to get all these troubles coming at you at the same time. Because one consolation would be that when you're in the cooler, when you're behind bars, you'd at least console yourself that your family is not suffering, that they have finances and they have access to finances, and that they're living comfortably, even as you suffer behind bars. However, now it seems possible, even as Obado suffers behind bars, his family will also be suffering out there, short of funds. His family will unfortunately not be able to rush checks for signing at Industrial Area Remand Prison, because any checks he signs will be useless. His accounts have been frozen. And there's more. Reports are also coming out that Governor Okoth Obado once had an affair with the sister to his wife. Now, a friend of mine was telling me over the weekend that unajua sisi Wajaluo afadhali mtu awe mlevi, kwa sababu kama sio mlevi na ako na pesa atakuwa mtu wa wanawake, na wanawake wanaweza kukumaliza. Loosely translated, he was saying, as Luos, it's better to be an alcoholic. Because when you're an alcoholic, your problem is just alcohol. You get drunk, and that's it. But if you're not an alcoholic, and you're a Luo, your big problem will be women, especially if you have money. And women can very easily finish you. Now, I'm not trying to profile an entire tribe in Kenya. No, I'm not. I'm just repeating a private conversation I had with a very good friend of mine, who I'm sure is taking in this video. And he was making remarks based on his experience. And of course, it's open for debate here. Now, my personal view is that you cannot profile an entire community as being womanizers. I think it depends on the individual. Because if it was to try to classify and profile a tribe as being womanizers, then the tribe my father hailed from, the Kambas, have to take the gold medal. No kidding. Now, that is just my opinion. There's nothing scientific about what I'm saying. Because from my own personal experience and from what I've seen, and I've not lived in this world only for a few years, from what I have seen, Kamba men and women, if we were to insist on going tribal, it would be impossible to convince me that there's another community that can take away the #1 position, the gold medal, from the Kambas. My apologies. I'm just trying to lighten you up on this Monday day. You start the week with a very, very tragic case that brings a lot of emotions to Kenyans. I'm just trying to lighten up people. At least have something to laugh about. Anyway, let us wait and see how the bail hearing for Governor Okoth Obado goes tomorrow, at about 2 p.m. I'll of course keep you fully updated on what happens. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.